Stoic Principle 1, Finding Purpose, the Foundation of Self-Discipline. Imagine starting each day not in confusion, but with a strong sense of direction, a reason to get out of bed that goes beyond routine or obligation. For Marcus Aurelius, this clarity came from one powerful idea: purpose. To him, living with self-discipline wasn't just about willpower or rigid control. It was about knowing why you do what you do. When you're connected to a deeper purpose, self-discipline becomes less of a chore and more of a natural outcome. In Stoic philosophy, purpose is not some vague, far-off dream. It's rooted in nature, understanding your place in the world and aligning your actions with what's truly meaningful. Marcus Aurelius believed that every person has a role to fulfill, and that recognizing this role gives life structure, direction, and meaning. It's about fulfilling your duties with integrity, whether they are grand or seemingly insignificant. In the modern world, however, purpose often gets buried beneath distractions, comparison, and endless options. We chase trends, crave validation, and get pulled in a dozen directions. That's why Stoic wisdom is more relevant than ever. It invites us to slow down and reflect. What truly matters to you? What kind of impact do you want to make? What tasks or problems energize you, even when they're hard? The path to purpose isn't always clear, but you can start by paying attention to what gives you lasting fulfillment, not fleeting pleasure. Look at the activities that make time disappear or the goals you return to again and again. These are clues. Once you identify your deeper why, you'll find that decisions become easier. Distractions lose power, and your sense of self becomes stronger. By committing to daily reflection, asking yourself what you're here to do, and whether your actions are aligned with that, you lay the foundation for true self-discipline. Purpose isn't just your guide, it's your anchor. And when life gets chaotic, it's what keeps you grounded and focused on what truly matters. Stoic Principle 2, Count on Yourself, the Power of Inner Strength. In a world where we're constantly told to seek advice, follow trends, and look outward for validation, the Stoic path offers a radically different direction: look within. Marcus Aurelius believed that one of the foundations of self-discipline was learning to rely on yourself. This wasn't about isolation or pushing people away, it was about personal responsibility. It meant understanding that your growth, peace, and progress are ultimately in your hands. When you count on yourself, you begin to shift your focus from external circumstances to internal control. You stop blaming the world for your setbacks and start asking, what can I do about this? The Stoics taught that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. That mindset creates real freedom, and real strength. Self-reliance doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up, even when motivation is low. It means choosing to be your own source of stability when life gets chaotic. In today's hyper-connected world, it's easy to be swayed by opinions, expectations, and noise. But Stoicism reminds us to filter that out and tune into our reason, our values, and our character. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, and us, that we have everything we need within us to face the day. His words weren't about pride, they were about truth. When you build confidence through consistent action, and when your self-worth comes from your values rather than outside praise, you become truly resilient. So how do you begin to count on yourself? Start small. Set a goal, something personal, something real, and follow through. Reflect on your choices and ask if they align with your principles. Over time, those daily choices build discipline. They build trust, not in the world, but in yourself. To count on yourself is to reclaim your power. It's to say, I am responsible for my growth. I am capable of navigating this life. And that belief, more than anything else, is what turns ordinary people into the strongest versions of themselves. Stoic Principle 3. Show up every day, the discipline of consistency. We often associate discipline with intense effort, those big, dramatic pushes toward change. But Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics understood something deeper: real strength is built not in bursts, but in consistency. To show up every day is one of the most powerful, and underrated, forms of self-discipline. Showing up doesn't mean every day has to be extraordinary. It doesn't mean you have to be at your best or achieve something massive. It simply means you commit to the process. You honor your responsibilities. You stay loyal to your values. Even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or mundane. For the Stoics, that daily effort was everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote about how each day was a chance to live in accordance with nature, to fulfill his role and do his duty with integrity. He didn't wait for motivation or ideal conditions. He understood that waiting for the perfect time was often just a form of avoidance. Instead, he focused on the present moment and the task at hand. In our modern world, this principle is more relevant than ever. Distractions are everywhere. Instant gratification is the norm. And when things get tough, it's easy to make excuses or put things off. But Stoicism calls us to rise above that. It reminds us that greatness isn't about how much we do in one day, it's about what we do every day. Start by defining what showing up means for you. Maybe it's writing a paragraph. Maybe it's exercising for 5 minutes. Maybe it's simply being fully present with your family. The point isn't scale, it's consistency. Each time you follow through, you reinforce your self-discipline and shape your identity. Over time, those small daily efforts compound into meaningful growth. They build resilience, sharpen focus, and strengthen character. The Stoic life isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. And by showing up every day, even in small ways, you honor the discipline that leads to lasting transformation. Stoic Principle 4. Voluntary discomfort, training the mind for life's storms. In a world that constantly encourages comfort, ease, and convenience, the Stoics took the opposite path. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers believed that by choosing discomfort, on purpose, we become stronger, more grateful, and more prepared for life's inevitable hardships. This practice isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. Voluntary discomfort means doing something hard, not because you have to, but because you choose to. It might be skipping a meal, taking a cold shower, walking instead of driving, or turning off your phone for a day. These small acts of self-denial condition your mind to handle bigger challenges with calm and clarity. You're not waiting for the world to test you, you're testing yourself first. For Marcus Aurelius, the point of this practice was to train resilience. Life, after all, is unpredictable. Challenges, setbacks, and losses can come without warning. If you're used to getting everything just the way you like it, those moments will shake you. But if you've chosen to step outside your comfort zone regularly, you're better equipped to stay grounded. There's another benefit too: gratitude. When you voluntarily go without something you usually enjoy, you come to appreciate it more. Skipping your morning coffee or limiting your screen time for a day can reveal how much you take for granted. This awareness leads to a deeper sense of contentment with what you have. Practicing voluntary discomfort also aligns with the Stoic ideal of self-mastery. It's about proving to yourself that you are not a slave to every craving, convenience, or impulse. You are in control, not your desires. Start small. Pick one thing today that challenges your comfort. Not to suffer, but to grow. Because when life inevitably gets tough, and it will, you'll have the mental strength, built through choice, to face it with steady hands and an unshaken heart. That's the Stoic way. And it begins by willingly stepping into the discomfort most people try to avoid. Stoic Principle 5. The dichotomy of control: focus on what you can change. One of the most powerful insights in Stoic philosophy, and one that Marcus Aurelius returned to again and again, is the idea that we should only focus on what we can control. It sounds simple, but truly living by this principle can transform your relationship with stress, anxiety, and frustration. According to the Stoics, the only things fully within our control are our own thoughts, actions, and choices. Everything else, other people's behavior, external events, outcomes, the past, even the weather, lies outside our control. The moment we try to control what we can't, we invite suffering. But when we learn to let go of those things, we free ourselves to focus our energy where it actually makes a difference. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this in Meditations, reminding himself that no matter what others did or said, he still had the power to choose his response. He believed that inner peace comes not from avoiding hardship, but from maintaining clarity and integrity regardless of what life throws at you. In modern life, this principle is more important than ever. We're bombarded with news, opinions, and pressures that can easily overwhelm us. But if we stop and ask, is this within my control? And if the answer is no, we can consciously choose to let it go. That's not passivity. That's wisdom. Living by the dichotomy of control means taking ownership of your mindset and behavior. You don't wait for the world to be perfect. You become disciplined, resilient, and grounded no matter what's happening around you. And in doing so, you lead by example. Start practicing this today. When something frustrates you, pause. Ask yourself, can I control this? If not, shift your focus to what you can do, how you think, how you act, how you show up. That's where your power lies. And that's where a Stoic plants their roots. Stoic Principle 6, never play the victim, own your response, own your power. Life isn't fair. Challenges come unexpectedly. People disappoint us. Circumstances change without warning. But according to Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic tradition, how we respond to those moments defines who we become. The key? Never play the victim. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine or denying real pain. Instead, it means refusing to let hardship strip you of your agency. It's the understanding that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you interpret it, how you respond, and what you choose to do next. Stoicism teaches that emotional independence is strength. When you blame others or circumstances for your state of mind, you hand over your power. But when you take full ownership of your response, even in pain, you reclaim control. Marcus Aurelius faced war, betrayal, illness, and death, yet he never fell into self-pity. He reminded himself daily, it's not the event, but your judgment of the event that causes distress. This mindset is powerful in today's world, where it's easy to fall into complaint and comparison. When things go wrong, it's tempting to look outward, to point fingers or seek sympathy. But the Stoic path calls for inner strength. It invites you to ask, what virtue can I practice right now? Whether that's patience, courage, forgiveness, or resilience. Adopting this approach doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. It means recognizing your pain without being ruled by it. It means using every setback as fuel for growth, every frustration as a chance to deepen your character. Start by noticing your reactions. When something upsets you, pause. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can I learn? How can I lead myself through this? That simple shift changes everything. You move from being a passive recipient of life's blows to an active creator of your response. Never playing the victim doesn't mean you'll avoid hardship, but it does mean you'll rise above it, stronger and more in control than before. Stoic Principle 7. Delayed gratification, mastering the moment for long-term gain. We live in a world built for instant gratification. With just a tap or click, we can satisfy almost any desire, food, entertainment, validation. But for Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, true fulfillment didn't come from what was easy or immediate. It came from restraint. From patience. From choosing what's right over what's tempting. That's the power of delayed gratification. In Stoicism, delaying gratification isn't about self-denial for the sake of suffering. It's about self-mastery. It's the conscious decision to trade short-term pleasure for long-term purpose. Marcus Aurelius believed that surrendering to every desire made a person a slave, not free. Freedom, in the Stoic sense, means being in control of your impulses, not controlled by them. This principle is more relevant now than ever. Every day, we're flooded with options that promise quick relief or satisfaction. But when we act on every impulse, we lose discipline, clarity, and peace. Stoicism teaches us to pause and ask, does this serve my greater goal? Does this align with my values? If the answer is no, we wait. We endure the moment. We rise above it. The benefits of this practice go beyond inner strength. Modern psychology backs it up. Those who can delay gratification tend to have better relationships, stronger careers, healthier bodies, and greater life satisfaction. Why? Because they've trained their minds to focus on what matters most, not what feels good right now. Start small. Choose one moment today to say no, to comfort food, to scrolling endlessly, to reacting emotionally. Not because you can't have those things, but because you choose not to, right now. That's real power. The more you practice delaying gratification, the stronger your self-discipline becomes. You build a life not of constant cravings, but of meaningful action. You shift from chasing dopamine to building dignity. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. That's what you can do. And it starts by mastering one moment at a time. Stoic Principle 8, ignore the naysayers, protect your peace, stay on your path. In today's hyperconnected world, opinions are everywhere. People judge, criticize, and question your every move, often without context or care. But Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics had a clear answer to this noise: tune it out. Not out of arrogance, but out of focus. The path to self-discipline demands that you protect your peace and stay grounded in your own values, not the approval of others. Stoicism teaches that the opinions of others are outside your control. You can't dictate how people see you, what they say, or what they assume. But you can control how much weight you give those voices. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that others' judgments have no power unless we give them power. What matters most is that you know your intention, your effort, and your truth. This principle is essential if you're pursuing any meaningful goal. Whether you're trying to build something new, break bad habits, or live differently than the crowd, there will be skeptics. Some will doubt you. Some will mock you. And some will simply not understand you. That's okay. Their confusion is not your burden. Instead of reacting to every critic, the Stoic way is to filter. Is the feedback constructive? Is it rooted in reason, truth, or love? If not, let it pass. Hold fast to your inner compass. Trust your process. And stay the course. Ignoring naysayers isn't about being dismissive. It's about being selective. It's about choosing where to invest your emotional energy. When you stop chasing approval, you start walking with purpose. You create space to listen to your own voice, the one that truly matters. So the next time someone doubts your path, smile inwardly. Remind yourself, I'm not here to please everyone. I'm here to live with intention. And if Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, could walk with humility and ignore the noise, so can you. Stoic Principle 9, emulate the wise, learn through example. Live through virtue. In a world full of influencers and noise, Stoicism offers a powerful practice: look to those who live with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a Roman emperor, constantly reflected on the virtues he observed in others: patience, courage, humility, discipline, and he sought to bring those traits into his own life. To emulate the wise is not to copy blindly, but to observe deeply and grow intentionally. Stoics believe that true wisdom isn't just found in books, it's found in action. It's revealed in how people carry themselves, how they respond to pressure, how they live by their values even when no one's watching. That's why Marcus often wrote about the mentors and role models in his life, both personal and historical. He studied their character, not their charisma, and used their example as a blueprint for his own conduct. This practice is incredibly powerful in our time. With endless distractions and mixed messages, it's easy to lose sight of who we want to become. But when we identify someone who consistently embodies integrity, reason, or strength, we gain a clear reference point. Their behavior reminds us of what's possible, and what's worth striving for. Start by asking yourself, who inspires me, not because of their success, but because of their character. It might be a historical figure, a mentor, or even someone close to you. What qualities do they demonstrate? How do they handle adversity? How do they treat others? These observations offer more than admiration, they offer direction. Emulating the wise isn't about becoming someone else. It's about refining the best version of yourself. Each time you apply a lesson you've learned from someone you respect, you grow closer to the values you hold dear. Over time, you may even become that steady example for others. In Stoicism, wisdom isn't abstract, it's embodied. And by choosing your influences with care, you choose the kind of life you want to live. Stoic Principle 10, Daily Self-Reflection, Sharpen your character. One day at a time. In the fast pace of modern life, days blur together. We rush from one task to the next, often without pausing to ask ourselves the most important question. Did I live today with intention? For Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, daily self-reflection wasn't optional, it was essential. It was the habit that anchored their growth, strengthened their discipline, and clarified their path. Self-reflection in Stoicism isn't about guilt or perfectionism. It's about awareness. Each evening, Marcus would review his actions, thoughts, and reactions, not to shame himself, but to understand himself. Where did he act with wisdom or restraint? Where did he fall short? What could he do better tomorrow? This daily check-in is like sharpening a blade, it keeps your intentions clear and your character sharp. It transforms your life from something that happens to you into something you're actively shaping. In a modern context, this practice is more important than ever. We're bombarded with distractions and demands. Without reflection, it's easy to drift off course. But when you take even 5 quiet minutes at the end of the day to ask, was I aligned with my values today? Did I react with patience, speak with honesty, choose courage over comfort? You bring your life back into focus. You don't need a long journal entry or a perfect ritual. Just consistency. A notebook, a quiet room, or even a moment before bed can be enough. The goal is simple: observe without judgment. And commit to doing a little better tomorrow. Over time, this practice builds self-discipline from the inside out. You become more aware of your habits, more honest with yourself, and more intentional with your choices. You stop running on autopilot and start living with direction. As Marcus Aurelius proved, mastery isn't built in a day, it's built every day. One small reflection at a time.